Buongiorno, buonasera, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the BOH Podcast. I'm your pal Rocco here with another episode, and I truly appreciate you taking out the time of your day to listen to my half hour of nonsense. Gonna be honest with you, not in the greatest of moods. So this episode might be not so comedic. I mean, I'll throw some stuff in there. But, listen. Overall, Rex Ryan, if anyone doesn't remember him, he was the coach of the Jets. He said one thing that always stuck with me. And it was about, when he was interviewing for head coaching jobs. And he said something, listen, I'm going to be me. I won't change who I am. If they're going to hire me, for me, that's who I want to work for. I do not want to work for someone who needs me to change who I am. I'm going to be me all the time. And that's the truth for me as well. I feel the same. I'm going to be real. I'm going to be honest. Sometimes I'm too honest. I'm going to be truthful. I mean, listen, this podcast, I made it just because I want everyone to experience maybe a half hour with me. Just the ramblings of my mind, getting into the depth of what I think of things. And right now, I'm not in the greatest of moods. So I figure, we'll talk about it. Make this episode about mental health and my experiences with it and what's happened to me, which brings me to where I am now and stuff like that. I mean, listen, it's a well-known concept that majority, and I would say probably 99%, of any comedian is depressed. And most of us use comedy as our therapy, as a way to make us feel good. But in reality, when we're not in front of the camera, when we're not on the stage, when we're not on the microphone, when we're not in the public eye, we're battling depression. And this is true for me. I mean, I've always had battles with depression since I was a kid. I mean, this is way before what happened to my parents. I mean, yeah, losing your parents a year apart, both to illness, one to COVID, one to lung disease. Yeah, that changed me forever. But it's not like I wasn't depressed before that at all. And everything. I mean, listen, my father was one of 6 children. By the time, let's say, by 2006 I want to say 2008, I'm probably off, all of his siblings were dead. I had to experience everyone on my dad's side basically die when I was younger. He had 4 brothers and a sister, all passed away, none of natural causes. So I became very, very aware of how fragile life is at a young age. And also my dad was always sick growing up. Whether if it was his diabetes, his cancer, his spinal surgeries, that every time he went under the knife, it was a risk of paralysis. Stuff like that. I was always on edge. I was always expecting the worst. I grew up in a negative atmosphere, and that's what molded me. Negativity. It's not anyone's fault. I don't blame my parents. What can they do? You can't control people getting sick and dying all around you. That's why my father always said, siamo sfortunato, figlio, and that means we're unlucky. And that it's true, and I still feel that way to this day. I mean, growing up wasn't easy as well, being the fat kid of the group. I had hard times with relationships. I mean, I didn't have my first girlfriend until junior high school, and even then I was too shy to even do anything. The first actual girlfriend I had was in high school. It was in high school, and then everyone listen, I found this out after, because would refer to me and my then girlfriend as Beauty and the Beast. And if you needs some clarity, I was being referred to as the beast. So that was something that was happening. Bullying. I was bullied my entire life. Bullied beyond belief, for being fat, for having strict parents. Anything. Listen, in life, what I've realized, and it's sad, it's true, I was never anyone's first choice. Till this day, I'm not anyone's first choice. And people say, "Oh, Rocco, but you have your kids." Yeah, my kids are 8 and 6 years old. Sometimes you want to be the first choice of an adult, of friends, of things like that. It's not easy being second fiddle, or not even no fiddle, to everyone's decisions. I mean, here, I'm going to tell you a story now that molded and put me into a deeper depression. Starting in 2012, and until, I would say, 2017, I was pranked constantly. And not like simple call and hang up. Like, I was pranked to the point where it was harassment. I had a binder full of examples of me being harassed by people pranking. They would call my house and berate me, make fun of me for being fat, make fun of my kids. And meanwhile, at that time, my Giuseppe was only like 3 months old, and they were still saying shit about him. They would order food to my house, and at that time I was renting, and my landlord were two assholes. And they would get annoyed as if I was doing this to myself. They would order food to my house. On Halloween, they would throw eggs at my window, knowing that the window in the front of my apartment was my son's bedroom, and he was sleeping there. They would throw eggs. They would egg my car. They would call me almost religiously every night, at least 24 times. And that happened from 2012 till 2017, until I got the police involved, and then it stopped. But here's the thing. Throughout the entire time, I didn't know who it was. And I'm too nice of a guy to ever confront anyone like that. I do not like to be... When it comes to me, this is what I say. You can hurt me all you want. I'm too nice to stop you. And that's probably why I'm not successful in many fields, because I'm too nice. So from 2012 to 2017, I was pranked, and then I didn't know who it was. I knew it was people that I knew, but I wasn't sure who it was, and everyone would deny it, and everyone would, tease me for it, or whatever. They would joke. No one took it seriously. No one thought it was a big deal. So it became the point when 2017, Listen, in 2017, it was a turning point in my life. And what happened is my landlord in Brooklyn continued to raise my rent. Like, every 10 minutes, they would look to raise my rent. It was really annoying. So, and I was getting pranked religiously. So I kind of figured, what am I in Brooklyn for? My friends, because I was married with kids, I was the first one married with kids, would not invite me anywhere, basically, anymore. I was never called anywhere. I was, again, I was never anyone's first choice. So I looked at my wife and I said, I wanted to stay in Brooklyn because all my friends were here. But all my friends didn't give a shit about me, so I decided to move upstate earlier than I wanted to. I was not ready to. My goal was to let my son start school upstate, not in Brooklyn. But I moved years earlier because I had no reason to stay in Brooklyn and I had to get away from the landlord. So basically, at that point, what I also did is I stopped talking to everyone, because I stopped talking to every single one of my friends, no matter how close I was, because I did not know who was doing this to me. I did not know who was throwing the eggs at my house. I did not know who was calling me a fat fuck every night, leaving me voicemails telling me that I'm an asshole, I should kill myself, stuff like that. Almost every single night. And some of you say, oh, why didn't you change your number? The thing was, I didn't know who this was. So I knew it was someone in my friend's group, and even if I change my number, someone's gonna have my number. You know, these are still people that I talk to often, and that they would need my number. So eventually, the people would get my new number no matter what I did. So basically, that's what happened, and what happened, and something that threw me in a loop and made me feel worse, was I stopped talking to everybody because I didn't know who I could trust. I didn't know what I could say to anybody because the pranks were getting too specific and it was too vague I didn't know who it was. So I basically just said, listen, no one likes me anyway. I'm never anyone's first choice. I'm just going to stop talking to everybody. And I'm going to, block everyone too, because, the pranks would always contain stuff that I posted on Facebook or on Instagram or on this. It was always something making fun of me for something I posted, something I did, or just me being fat, whatever. So that's it. I cut everybody off. And what surprised me, and it's something that hurt me the most, more than any of the pranks, and it's still something that hurts me to this day, is that no one noticed that I basically cut anyone off. Not that maybe they did notice, but maybe they did not care enough to check. Like, Rocco, what's up? Why'd you block me? Why did you cut me off? Why are you no longer speaking to me? It's like the saying, the trash took itself out. I felt like I was the trash and I took myself out, and everyone was like, fuck it, we don't like Rocco anyway. So that's depression. I've been basically in the depression since. It's granted, I've made amends with, to date, I've realized who it was. It stopped, mostly because the police were involved, because when you show up to the precinct with a binder full of examples of pranks, they kind of take it a little bit seriously. But to date, I speak to some of my friends. I'm still no one's first choice. I see friends getting together and I'm not invited or called or asked. It still gets to me. I am in my videos, I joke around when I make my father say, oh, you have no friends. It's the truth. I don't have any friends, basically. I have associates. I have people who I'll speak to on occasion, but friends, are people you speak to a lot and people you can confide in. I can't confide in anybody. And that's where comedy comes in for me. Comedy is my therapy. I saw a real therapist for a while, and then what I always found was I felt more like shit after walking away from the therapist than I did before. So I just stopped because it didn't do anything. Like, just talking about my problems didn't really do anything because there was no way of fixing it. I can't change people. And, there's that quote that I always see on Instagram and stuff like that says, before you diagnose yourself with depression, make sure you're not surrounded by assholes. And a lot of that is true for me. I am surrounded by assholes. I'm surrounded by people who make me feel like shit 99% of the time. And it's the truth. And, listen, I apologize that this is not a funny podcast, but this is where I am right now. This is me. This is me being real. I'm not going to sugarcoat shit. I'm not going to pretend to be all, unicorns and candy. It's the truth. But this is where comedy comes in for me. Comedy is my therapy. Comedy is my light in a dark world. Making people laugh. Making people, enjoy my videos. It's like happiness by association. Your happiness helps me. What I'm saying is, like, I get joy, I feel happiness by making you guys laugh. But comedy also, adds to my depression. It's tough not to go through, a spiral. And for me, it's very, very easy to go down a spiral. It only takes one or two instances to throw me off. Here's one example. It just happened the other night, and I couldn't sleep the entire night because of how much it bothered me. So, I've been looking. Let me start with some, I had some knowledge from before. Let me preface it with, I've been looking for places to perform. I now have enough people who enjoy my comedy that I feel comfortable to find a place to perform. Unfortunately, no comedy club is answering my emails. I've reached out to people I know, but if anyone in the comedy business knows, excuse me, comedians hate helping each other. It's very rare to find a comedian willing to help you. And that's what it is. So I cannot find a place to perform. And the only places I can find are places where I have to pay out of pocket. And because of my depression, because of my doubt, I don't feel confident enough in putting down thousands of dollars to reserve a room in hopes that at least I'll make my money back. Because listen, for me, comedy has never been about making money. It never has. I'm terrible with it. People have asked me, "Oh, Rocco, how much do you want to do a show?" And I would never know how to answer, because for me, whatever you want to give me, I'll take. Because for me, it's about making you laugh, and I could care less about, making a profit. Except in some instances, some people are going to lowball you on purpose, and you really got to say no. But, alright, so basically that's the background. I haven't been able to find anywhere to perform. And then you see, people family members going to shows of comedians that who have wronged you. And there's a comedian out there, and I won't say anything, but he's popular, but he wronged me in many different ways. And I'll remember it for the rest of my life, because it was unnecessary for him to do what he did. One example is that he spread a rumor that every time I performed at places, I would get booed off the stage, which was not true. It's just not true. I mean, I've never gotten booed off stage. Yes, I've bombed. Every comedian has bombed before. But the whole thing is that you're supposed to bomb less than you do well, and I'm my ratio is well. But he went and spread that rumor around. And he spread it around in the community of people I know, and it got back to me. So now that doubt in my head is that why no one asked me to be on their shows? Because this fucking guy has spread that rumor about me. He also stole a show from me, because I did a show somewhere, and then and at that time he was asking me for advice, because he was just starting out. And I told him about this show, and I told him what the booking people told me to do, and then what they actually wanted me to do were two separate things, and they weren't happy. And I told them what I would do next time if I was on that show, because now I know what they want. He took the information I gave him, went to those people, and then booked that show from now on, and no one else booked it. So he stole money out of my pocket by taking my information and doing that. So when I see people I know go to his show, take pictures with him, stuff like that, it hurts me. Because, listen, I'm not going around... Listen, I haven't even said the person's name. And I won't say it publicly, because I'm not about that life. I'm not going to publicly shame anybody. Because I wish everyone success. My only thing is that I want you to reach your success authentically. You do not have to drag people down on the way up. So when I see people going to this person's show and taking pictures, getting autographs, and meanwhile these are family members who I've told before about this person, and they still go, it hurts me. And it hurts me more than it should. And I'll admit that. And then you'll see other people associating with this person, all because they're more successful than me. So that's, again, it comes down to I'm never anyone's first choice. So everyone will pick someone else before they pick me. And that's simple. And so basically these two things happened within a span of two to 3 days. And for 2 to 3 days, I was battling myself not to spiral into a deeper depression. That night I could not sleep. I kept on waking up feeling like I couldn't breathe. And it was all because of this. It was all because of how hurt I was that basically this person is an ultimate piece of shit. But everyone doesn't see it, and I didn't do anything to deserve what was done to me. I was just a nice guy who was helping someone else because they asked me for questions and I answered them. And then they took that information and unnecessarily spread rumors about me. Listen, till this day, I was speaking to a comedy club up near me. I was speaking to them about performing. The manager told me, listen, one night come in, we'll discuss what we can do. Yada, yada, yada. Within like a week or two, it so happened that the same comedian I'm talking about performed there. From that moment, that manager stopped answering all my messages. Till this day, I cannot get that club to answer my emails. Meanwhile, they were answering me relatively quickly before. So I don't know. I can't say someone is going to the club. He's spreading rumors about me to clubs too now. I don't know. And I'm not going to say he is, but it's just a coincidence to me, and that's what happens. So yes, it's me being envious, of course. I'll never lie and say I'm not envious of people. I tell people all the time, I had no backup. My entire life, I went through it without a safety line. When you go bungee jumping and they put the bungee jump, the rope on you and you jump and you bounce back. And they put a security one on, so just in case that one breaks, something's there to save you. I never had any of that. I had no safety line. My parents didn't have money. No one in my family had money. I had no support system of that type. So I was always risk averse because I knew that if I failed, I failed. And I had nothing to come back to because there was no one to save me. So yeah, I should have had more balls growing up. And then also, my priority was marriage and having kids. And once you have kids, it's, well, for me at least, I became more risk averse. I'm not willing to take food out of my kid's mouth to take a risk because daddy wants him to do comedy. My kids are my priority. They'll always be, and I'll always put their well-being before mine. If it means that daddy's just an Instagram comedian who does a podcast, but they get to do whatever they want in their life, then so be it. But that's what it is, and that's the battle I have to. I deal with every single day. But, again, I apologize if this episode has been pretty depressing. Maybe you're one of those people who enjoy other people's misery, so I'm glad I can make you feel better. But yeah, that's the truth. It's every day is a battle with my mental health, and medication doesn't help. Therapy doesn't help. Most of it is that it's the truth. Before you diagnose yourself with depression, make sure you're not surrounded by assholes. And a large reason of my depression are assholes. I don't know what it is about me that people want to wrong me. Like, listen, I don't get social media either. I believe my content is pure entertaining and deserves more attention than it is. Yet the growth I've experienced in social media is so slow compared to any other account I see. And I don't know if it's because I don't know. I really have no idea why my accounts don't grow as fast as other people's do. I just don't get it. And again, it's because, I'm never anyone's first choice. You know, I don't have I'm not, let's say, sexy enough to be someone's first choice in comedy either. Everyone will promote the same people left and right, and then for me, it's just like a charity promotion almost. But, it is what it is. It could be envy. It could be haterade. Who knows? But this is me. This is who I am. Because of who I am is why the videos you enjoy happen. Basically. If I wasn't this depressed, if I wasn't this person, I don't know what kind of comedy I would do. I don't know if I would even be in comedy, because comedy started as a way to make me feel better and for me to feel some sort of happiness. And that's why I'm here now. So, again, I apologize for being a depressive person at the moment. But hopefully I connect with some of you, because I know everyone has their own struggles and you never know what anyone is going through. But hopefully me sharing my problems and my stories brings some comfort to yours. Again, thank you for listening to the podcast. State buono.